Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 19, text number 11. Charamena Shwamedena Yajamane Yajushpatim Vainye Yajna Pashum Smardhan Apovaha Tirohitaha. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When Prithu Maharaj was performing the last horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna, King Indra, invisible to everyone, stole the horse intended for sacrifice. He did this because of his great envy of King Prithu. Purport. King Indra is known as Shatakratu, which indicates that he has performed 100 horse sacrifices, Ashwamedha Yajna. We should know, however, that the animals sacrificed in the Yajna were not killed. If the Vedic mantras were properly pronounced during the sacrifice, the animal sacrificed would come out again with a new life. That is the test of a successful yajna. When King Prithu was performing 100 yajnas, Indra became very envious because he did not want anyone to excel him. Being an ordinary living entity, he became envious of King Prithu, and making himself invisible, he stole the horse and thus impeded the yajna performance. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So now there is a twist, new twist. We all know that King Prithu Maharaj was preparing and prepared all the ingredients for Ashwamedha Yajna. As you said, that is the normal practice of an emperor to offer Ashwamedha Yajna in order to invoke the necessary power to rule over the people. Now here it is said that King Indra, he, in an invisible form, and came and stole the last horse that was intended for sacrifice. He did this because of his envy of King Prithu. So we see how even at very high level of Indra, the king of heaven, this jealousy operates in their heart. That is not surprising, because we know that Indra is an ordinary living entity. Due to his pious earnings, he has got that position as Indra. Or for that matter, all the administrative demigods, they all have different positions in this material world with controlling power of certain things because of their earnings of punya. Not necessarily it has to be connected with bhakti, pure bhakti. The only difference between the demigods and the big demons is that the demigods, they know that above them there is a supreme controller, Vishnu, whom they are pleasing by Ashwamedha Yajna and all these things. Whereas the demons, they undertake austerities, yajna, dana, tapa, everything. They also undertake, demons. Because that yajna, dana, tapa is a law of this material world by which one can earn punya. So the demons also do, but the demons do not recognize. They are the impersonal. They know that no material laws are there. If I do dana, yajna, tapa, like Hiranyakashipu and all, I have to get power. Which normally it is true. Because the laws of karma are designed in such a way that as you sow, so you reap, without the Lord interfering. The laws of karma are governed by kala, time. The time is an impersonal, plenary portion of Paramatma, the all-pervading Lord, who is within and without of everything. He is represented externally by kala. That is why kala is plenary part of Paramatma, means it's equally powerful like Paramatma. Almost like an infinite Shakti, that Kala. Otherwise, how Kala can be driving this material world? Kala is driving this material world every moment. And where devotees are involved, then the Lord personally becomes active and intervenes in their lives beyond Kala. Or even he tames Kala. So the demigods are also ordinary living entities. Not necessary that they have any pure devotion. Because all the living entities in this material world have chosen to lord over this material energy. Lord over everything. Lording over everything means imitating the Lord. But that imitation of the Lord is controlled by the Lord, by the laws of karma, through his kala. So everybody is given a chance that you need not recognize the Supreme Lord. I am not forcing you to recognize me as a source of all your power. You have freedom to live independently, of thinking independently. You have a freedom to illusorily be independent in this material world and lord over everything that one sees. So this lording over, I am the Lord of all I survey, is a root, kama, the root desire that is operating on the top of every other desire. Ultimately, the lording rasa We have come into this material world to enjoy lauding rasa. So if one is successful in lauding, then he wants to laud more. Kama, krodha, lobha. If he fails in lauding in an instance, then he gets krodha. When he succeeds in lauding, then he gets lobha, greed. Kama, krodha, lobham, mada, matsarya. See, envy comes. Becomes more and more greedy when his lauding is successful. Becomes more and more greedy and becomes arrogant with power. Kama, krodha, moha, mada, matsarya. Moha, illusion. Illusion means go deeper into thinking that, yes, I am the Lord of all I survey. Because he succeeded. As I said, when you succeed, you get greed. I want more and more. And that increases your moha, is illusion that you can be the Lord of all I survey. And then mada, he gets that arrogance. So when he is intoxicated with this arrogance, he sees that somebody is lauding better than him or going to laud better than him. Matsarya, envy starts. So even envy, the root is kama. It's a developed kama, is envy. So every living entity in this material world is running after power rasa or kama, lording over. Our original soul's position is something else. The soul's position or soul's constitutional rasa is surrender rasa, not power rasa. Just like here, everybody is trying to increase his power. That's the rasa here. And competing with each other. In the spiritual world, every living entity is trying to taste surrender rasa. Gaining power, that is lauding rasa. Surrendering power to the owner of all the power. Surrendering one's own self to the owner of the self. Krishna is the owner of the self. Myself, every soul. He is the proprietor of everything. So one should know the two types of consciousness that the living entity can practice. He can practice the relationship of surrender with Krishna. Life is changing every moment. Time is moving, whether for devotee or non-devotee. Today one circumstance, tomorrow another circumstance, then again another circumstance. Circumstances are continuously changing, and it is required to continuously practice the principle of surrender. This is what we call it as sadhana bhakta, a devotee. We are sadhana bhaktas. We are practicing a new consciousness which is counter to our old consciousness. The old consciousness that we have practiced over millions of lives in this material world is to chase after power. Power means independence from God. Power means position in this material world. From position, name, fame. These are all rasas, power rasas. Even not talking about physical power. Physical power is one of them. When one is tamasic, then he is fighting for physical power. When he is rajasic, when he is trying for influence power. Money, this thing, all this thing. When he is sattvic, again in forgetfulness of Krishna. He is just like they say, knowledge is power. One utilizes one's knowledge for power over other living entities. Just like if you have more knowledge, then you subjugate somebody who comes to you for knowledge. Fake gurus, speculators, all kinds of speculation of interpretation of the Vedic literatures, impersonalists, Mayavadis. There's a rasa over the disciples. Whereas a Vaishnava guru is always feeling that I am the servant of my disciple in service of the Supreme Lord to take him back to Godhead. He never leaves, even in the position of a guru, he never leaves the consciousness of his eternal position as a servant of the Lord. A spiritual master receives the worship from the disciple because the disciple is trapped in the gross bodily concept of life. So the guru allows to worship his body, his visible form, to the disciple. Then opportunity. And that offering, he receives, whatever he receives, does not stay anything with him. It transparently, he passes on to the Supreme Lord, who is the recipient, who is the one who deserves all worship from all jivas. So coming back to this envy business in this material world, when there is a competition of lauding, it manifests in the form of envy. One cannot become a devotee of the Lord, or one cannot start becoming a devotee of the Lord unless he gives up this enviousness. So this enviousness is a just like lust is a disease. It's like fever. It's a symptom of disease. So envy is like fever. It's a symptom of karma. So devotee understands these things, these truths from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And just as he controls the residual lust, his soul has decided no more lust, no more kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, enviousness. These are the 6 enemies that are trapping us in this material world. These are the 6 enemies which cover our original bhakti rasa, our love of Godhead. These are the original enemies. So as devotees, after having decided, yes, I understand that my original position, constitutional position is, I am servant of Krishna, jivere surupohai, Krishna nitya dasa. So that is my original position. But my mind and body is conditioned to lauding, which is opposite of servitude. Wherever possible, in all circumstances, the tendency, conditioned tendency is to lord over. I have to change this conditioned tendency to lord over, to offer lord over dovetailing, lord over for the service of the Lord. Lord over all kinds of material energy. Because it is not lording over, it is called dovetailing. When you try to control energies, gross or subtle energies, for your own pleasure, then that is lording over. But when you relate and engage with all kinds of energies of the Lord, with firm conviction that the enjoyer of all energies is the energetic, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, including me as a servant who engages everything in service of the Lord. That consciousness is what a sadhaka is supposed to develop, fighting against the tendency to lord over. And in this aspect of purifying our lording over tendency, that is why the spiritual master gives us the mission to work for his mission. To work in this material world means, naturally, you have to relate and engage material energy, gross and subtle material energy. You have to engage. There is no question of renouncing. That is false renunciation. If you say, I don't want this, I cannot, these are all lauding. No, there is a real Lord. You don't lord. You stop lauding cannot happen unless you relate and engage with everything which otherwise you would have lorded over. You do it for Krishna. That is a challenge. Bhakti is a positive activity. Just stopping activities is not Krishna consciousness. Just like you get fed up, lauding, and then you see that everywhere I'm defeated, I cannot lord over, vital energy is too powerful. Then you give up everything, material energy. Oh, it's all Maya, 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 Maya. If I deal with money, it is Maya. Because I will tend to lord over. If I am active in the society, then again I will tend to lord over. And lording over, even Mayavadis realize it is an illusion. Because they are seeing the reality that nobody can be the lord of everything. So they also try to give up all connection with the material world, material energies. But that is like a mischievous child being asked to sit on one corner. But you have got potency to act. The positive thing is not a mischievous child should be turned into a mature child who is not mischievous but does meaningful activities. So Krishna consciousness or Vaishnavism is the activity, is for developing, maturing the living entities, not only stopping from lauding, but to see the whole world, whole of existence as meant for serving the Supreme Lord. Hari Sambandha Vastu. Everything is seen as Hari Sambandha Vastu. And he acts, his activity look like every other ordinary activity. Just like Srila Prabhupada, look like he is also building an organization. He is also dealing with money, buildings. He is also dealing with politicians, political power, this, that, all those things, to engage them all in service of the Lord. So ordinary people will not understand. They will say, no, what is this? You're also dealing with money, you're also… Who told you our philosophy is not to deal with money? Who told you Vaishnava philosophy or philosophy of Bhagavad Gita is Falgu Vairagya? It is about Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means appropriate renunciation, defined renunciation. What is that Yukta definition? Connection to Krishna, Hari Sambandha Vastu. To see everything as meant for Hari's pleasure. And that is Vairagya. Not seeing things for one's own pleasure and changing that consciousness to everything for Krishna's pleasure is called Yukta Vairagya. So, it's a constant. Our past conditioning, millions of lives, our subtle body, our chittam, is trying to control our own life, what will happen to my future, this thing, all kinds of things, control. And the other side, Krishna consciousness, it's a different kind of consciousness. Is teaching us to completely depend on Krishna, serve Krishna, surrender your consciousness, surrender your thinking, feeling, willing, desiring, doing, everything you surrender to Krishna. So when we practice this consciousness, the 6 principles of surrender, when you practice that, there is a force, old residual force of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. This force is there, one should understand, recognize that he has carried a subtle body for millions of lives anti-Krishna consciousness he has maintained in this material world. And these are all they're all there as our karma. A sadhaka is never inattentive to the fact that my body and mind can surface lust any moment, anger any moment. When lust is frustrated, anger, lust is fulfilled, greed, you get more encouraged, more, oh, I succeeded, more. You go deeper into illusion, moha. So my subtle body, I'm always alert. Sadhaka is always alert. It's not very surprising. When lust arises in his mind, a sadhaka is not surprised. He's not surprised, he's not disturbed. What is the use of getting disturbed? You have to you know it is not you, it is your old. It is your old you. The old you is false ego. That's your old business. You have given up old business. Your new business is something else, Krishna consciousness. If you don't know your enemy, enemy will simply walk through into your house. You have to identify your enemy, no? If you see enemy, if you don't know his enemy, you think he is friend, then he'll come and stay with you. So this kama, krodha, moha, lodha, all those enemies, we have to learn how to, as a sadhaka, we have to learn, because eventually I have to make this zero. I have to completely become free from this. And this can become free from this only by replacing with a pure consciousness. So while one is practicing Krishna consciousness, chanting nicely, and hearing, reading more Prabhupada's books, this thing, and then dovetailing one's lauding tendency in service, in the mission of the spiritual master, carefully dovetailing as per the principles that is guided by the spiritual master. By doing all that, the positive things, he should not forget, he should not become inattentive that these enemies are also sitting inside my chittam, in my subconscious, and not be surprised when they rise. But identify them as enemies and distance oneself from that identity. Naham, nirmama, nirmoha. We have to practice these things. Naham, that's not me. That lauding ego that is there which surfaces up, conditioned ego, that's not me. That's my enemy. That persona is my enemy. I have propped up in the past this enemy. Now I propped it up by saying that I am that. Now I have nothing to do with that. I am not that. But in your consciousness it comes up with full identification. I am the enjoyer, the feeling that I am the enjoyer. Because you have given your aham to that. Identification. So over and above all these positive activities that we are doing to bring pure consciousness, practicing pure consciousness of surrender, accelerate our growth, we should not embrace these old personas, old false egos. That is the first principle of surrender, to accept things favorable for devotion service, to reject things that are unfavorable. So this accepting and rejecting should operate at the level of the personas. Each time we are acting in this material world through a persona. So whether that personality is Krishna conscious or not, am I projecting that personality of being Krishna conscious? Am I projecting the personality of a false ego, a demon? One who is practicing sadhana bhakti clearly knows that I have to become zero from self-gratification, whether it is self's senses or self's false ego, self-centeredness. You can go after sense pleasures, you can go after emotional pleasures, want to feel love, this, all these things, emotional body. You can chase intellectual pleasures, intellectual self-gratification, that is called speculation. You can go after false ego. False ego is characterized by this power, name, fame. So all enemies. This Krishna consciousness advancement and progress is a science. It's a science. It's a continuous challenge in our devotional life till we go back to Godhead. It's a continuous challenge. Sometimes devotees think that external preaching challenge. I should focus continuously on external preaching challenge. He is missing half the game. That meeting external preaching challenges, in fact, that is a dovetailing support for the real challenge of giving up all kinds of lauding tendencies. If you forget this half of it, or if one does not understand the science of Krishna consciousness, he will utilize sadhana also. Means it utilizes the power that comes from sadhana. There is a material power also from sadhana to simply increase the weed. It's not dovetailing power, but actually is enjoying power. And to preach in this material world, we need power. So dovetailing power is different. Enjoying power is different. In a dovetailing power, we know the owner is Krishna and I am just an instrument. All power that I am getting to preach is the mercy of the spiritual master for his mission. He is giving me this power. All those thoughts are not there. Independently you try to do big things. There's nothing but our old vasanas are just expressing itself. And all the, any tapasya, sadhana, you may be a good sadhaka. Sadhana is very good. And he goes after preaching big things. His consciousness is not, as far as preaching is concerned, his consciousness is not about dovetailing, thinking that my anarthas I am dovetailing. I am born with these anarthas. Great blessing Prabhupada has given us. I am not the one who love. In preaching Krishna consciousness, you don't need to lord over. Krishna supplies everything. Krishna provides everything to the devotee. Devotee is not lording and building the institution, lording and increasing his preaching. No. He knows that all the power that is required, material power, everything that is required, is given by Krishna. And it is not my successful lording. Because Krishna provides what you need for his preaching. As per your karma, some already provided, that is also provided by Krishna only. You have certain power, you have certain influencing power, you have certain talking power, you have some, all kinds of things, logical power, everything you may use to preach Krishna consciousness. But we have to understand that that is also given by Krishna. But in Krishna's service, when you employ your karmic talents, body-mind talents, or faculties, the result that we achieve by dovetailing is not commensurate with your karmic power. One has to, this is a proper consciousness of dovetailing. It is Krishna has taken my offering of my karmic power, my ability, karmic, this thing, everything is taken. That alone is not enough to bring about Krishna's mission. I provide what you lack, Krishna provides that. And then successfully preaching mission is achieved. So when anybody who takes credit for, one can take credit within oneself, not in public, the satisfaction that Krishna has used me, I am blessed. Now that I have done something, Krishna has done something through me. I got an opportunity to do devotion service. That's an internal reside, it's an internal satisfaction that devotee can take, nothing wrong with that. But if he converts that into wanting name, fame, recognition from the society of even other Vaishnavas, then you are feeding your original, we are becoming a thief. Our tendency is same. Like Indra here is he is stealing. He knows, if I don't steal this horse, Prithu Maharaj will become more powerful than me. So this kind of negative comparison leads to competition in this material world. So we should be also very, very careful in our Krishna consciousness. We have got a great mission that Prabhupada has put upon every one of his disciples to expand his preaching. But one should, for that we have to work. So we have to work in a Krishna conscious way. Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upashitya macchitta satatam bhava. That means buddhi yoga. That means we have to work seeking Krishna's buddhi. Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasya. It's Krishna's work. One has to understand that. I am not doing my work. Prabhupada's work is Krishna's work.
Chetasa sarvakarmani mayi sanyasya matparaha. That is, you have to, consciously you have to tell, otherwise you think it is your work. It is Krishna's work, I am servant. Immediately, somebody's work means automatically if you're doing, you come into consciousness of servant. Chetasa sarvakarmani mayi sanyasya matparaha. Buddhi yogam upashita. Then how does he execute the work? He takes shelter of Krishna's intelligence. Buddhi yogam upashita. Means he's in connect with the infinite intelligence. Buddhi yoga. Your buddhi gets connected with the super soul's buddhi. And in that way be conscious. Matchitta satatam bhava. Matchitta sarvadurgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. By my mercy, by his mercy in the form of dhyana, bala and kriya that he gives. Sarvadurgani, all obstacles he will cross over. Ata chetam ahankara na shoshasi vinangshasi. On the other hand, if you act out of thinking that it is all me, it is all my power, it is all my talent, it is all my ability, the world has to recognize, I need name, fame, everything. I am senior devotee. I have to lobby with everybody, otherwise my seniority cannot be. I have to tell everybody what all I did, otherwise my seniority will go away. I had to lobby among everybody what all I did, so that everybody recognizes, oh, you are a great preacher. Being Maya is very powerful, in whichever which all ways it comes, ultimately test. It is Krishna consciousness is not external. How your heart is changing as you progress in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise we will be feeding our anarthas. And somewhere, na shoshasi vinangshasi, you will be destroyed. Somewhere you will fall down on your nose. At one point you will fall on your nose. If you do not know how to, the art of dovetailing humbly, all that Krishna has given in service of the Krishna. If you don't know that art requires practice, reading, understanding, association of Vaishnavas, a culture. That kind of culture is created among the Vaishnavas. In the Vaishnava community, that kind of culture is created. In the ashram, that kind of culture is created. Not, we are a bunch of people who are all achievers. Who is achieving more, competing with each other to achieve more? No. Achieve purity of heart. That nobody can know, no one can certify except yourself. How sincere I am, how true I am to the true principles of Krishna consciousness. So if you're not alert to all these things, if you don't understand the science of Krishna consciousness, the science of bhakti yoga, sadhana bhakti, one does not understand sadhana bhakti and what is pure bhakti, if you don't understand all these things, then simply, there is a danger of feeding our anarthas. Our preaching mission is to decrease our anartha, is not to increase our anartha. Our preaching effort is meant to make us humbler. When you succeed, you become more humble. Whereas when you succeed, if you're not dovetailed properly, then you get ahankara. You get pride. So success in our preaching activities, success in our service to Srila Prabhupada can bring you pride or it can bring you humility. Humility comes because of the recognition that Prabhupada has given you mercy. Pride comes when you see that, oh, I could do this. I was powerful. I was better than somebody else. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. You mentioned about the 6 enemies that mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita about Kama, Krodha, Lobha. So, as per the Padma Purana, we have passed through 84 lakh species of life. So how does this affect us in our present life? All these enemies
How does it affect?
in our present life.
Huh.
This Kama, Krodha, Lobha, all these 6 enemies we have encountered in our previous lives. And we have passed through, but the Padma Purana says we have passed through 84 lakh species of life. So how do these enemies impact us in our present life?
It is every life it is impacting till you become devotee. It is not that in this 84 lakh species, in that it is less kama, less this thing, this. There are varieties of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. There are varieties. In the animal form it will be in one, in human form it will be one, among jnanis it will be in another form, among sattvic people it will be in another form. So all these enemies are there at all so-called materially different levels of so-called evolved consciousness up to Brahma. Bhagavad Gita Krishna, Brahma Bhuvana Punaravartana Arjuna. It is not a one-way trip up to Brahma. Tak, you again come down. So this cycle goes on. So at all cycles, this is a rasa, that the living entity, this is a, see, when you get angry, you feel a sense of power, right? So it's a rasa. Oh, I shouted at him. It's a rasa. I got the courage to shout at him. It's a rasa. So in all species of life, we are drinking this poison rasa. The spirit person is drinking this poison rasa through this contaminated consciousness. So our goal is very clear. We have to end this. And end the negative. Alone is not enough. You have to understand this negative is because there is no positive. There is no surrender rasa. There is no rasa of being subservient to the Lord. There is no rasa of reciprocation from the Lord. There is no rasa of you having received the kindness of the Lord. All those things in bhakti rasa only will replace all these rasas. Grandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.